The following episode has spoilers for many of the films that are up for the Academy Awards in 2025.
Hello, this is Rob Shearman, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Hello everybody, this is Mark Who 42. If you're wondering why Mark is not here, unfortunately he's under the weather, so he's handed the reins to us to talk about the Oscars this time. I'm Juan in Orlando.
I'm Vicky in Reno.
And I'm Kim in Kissimmee.
And so today, our show today, we're going to be talking about the Oscars. The Oscars will be broadcasting on March 2nd. The ceremony will be happening. And so we're going to go over the categories. Our strategy is to go into the order of number of nominations. So we're going to start at 2 nominations, work our way up. In the middle, we're going to talk about some of the short categories and also some nominees, which only got like 1 nomination that were in big categories, which were interesting. And then we'll finish up with the other big things which got nominations. And I'm going to quickly explain, for those of you who don't know how the Oscars work, this is explained to me by a member of the Academy who's a local here who teaches at UCF. Essentially, everybody gets to vote for what their expertise is. All the screenwriters nominate for best screenplay, and all the actors vote for the acting categories, all the visual effect people vote for visual effects, and everybody gets to vote for Best Picture. Once the ballot is set, everybody can vote on the ballot. It's usually single vote for all the categories except for Best Picture, which has rank balloting, where you have to say first place, second place, and right now probably up to a 10th place. So anything, Kim and Vicky, you want to add about that?
No, I knew about like the nominations, but do you vote for your specific category only then when it comes to actually deciding the winners?
Yes.
No, everybody gets no. I've seen Barry's ballot. So Barry had a ballot where he could vote for everybody. The final ballot, everybody can vote.
Oh.
Okay, see,
it.
that part I never actually knew. Good to know.
Well, yeah,
I think
no,
it's also changed over the years in different, well, it's changed a lot. I mean, yeah, it's been
The
a
10
while.
picture thing, yeah.
so that's how the Oscars nomination process works. And as I said, we're going to start talking with things which have small number of nominations, 2 nominations, and work our way up. So when we come back, we're going to start with the 2 nominations, which there are 4 films.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Tooncast is dedicated to the cartoons we grew up with. 100 episodes and more make up one of the GCRN's most popular podcasts. Join hosts TFG and Mike, Optimus Solo, Terra the Rising Star, and tons of guest hosts. We also have voice actor and writer interviews. Tune in to Tooncast as we look back on the cartoons that defined us as geeks. You can find Tooncast on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Tune in.
Get ready for the ultimate geek experience right here in the Sunshine State. Florida Geek Scene presents a full calendar of events and conventions. From anime to horror, we've got it all. Meet your favorite stars, find rare collectibles, and immerse yourself in your passions. Experience the thrill of cosplay and witness amazing live performances. Stay up to date with the latest news and reviews all across Florida. Florida Geek Scene, where pop culture happens. Visit us online for more. Don't miss out on the fun. Join us at Florida Geek Scene, floridageekscene.com.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Well, welcome back to Mark Who 42's Oscar episode, and we're going to start with movies which have 2 nominations. And the first one we're going to talk about, working our way up, is A Real Pain, which is up for Best Supporting Actor and Best Screenplay. Now, Kim, you and I have seen this. Well, what was your take on A Real Pain? I hated the trailer, and I waited a long time to see it.
So I because we saw the trailer together, and I
Right.
had the same thought where I'm like, this is kind of seems a little obnoxious. So I didn't watch it until I started hearing kind of some props about Culkin's acting, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll check it out. So I checked it out once it was on Hulu. I try to catch things in theaters, but at that point I had already been out of theaters. And it was all right. Like it wasn't the best movie, and I think out of all the supporting actor roles, I wouldn't say he's the best one supporting actor wise. Like I generally don't think that. But I respect what Culkin was going for there. I like how he really seemed like he honed in on the character and knew what the character was about. But I feel like there's a weak screenplay going on. Maybe not like the strongest directing choices. It's a good watch. And I
Hmm.
don't regret watching it. It's just not the most memorable movie, I would say.
Now, Kim, you talked about directorial choice. I got to ask you, how much Woody Allen have you seen? Because a lot of this film, for some reason, reminded me of a Woody Allen film because of how you'll go to a quick look at the town or a tree or
Mhm.
an architecture, and I think Vicky might know this better, but that feels to me like how Woody would film his films. He likes doing like
Ah,
background shots, like you'll quick to the city, particularly during his European period. I don't know how much, I forget how much Woody you've seen.
I haven't seen Woody, and that's probably like a little bit where it's like I don't know if I could sit through one of his movies simply
Fair
because in the
enough.
back of my mind I know what I would be thinking.
yes.
So
I used to
I
be a
haven't.
huge Woody Allen fan. Haven't watched any of his movies in a while now.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And I loved what he did. So a lot of his early work.
The
He
early
had a
funny
very
ones.
interesting. Well, not even the funny ones. I mean, Purple Rose of Cairo is funny, but not like in the same way as like Hannah and Her Sisters. He had an interesting take on the world and everything else. But of course, that's all deeply colored now by his personal choices, and I can't watch his movies anymore because
Okay,
that's
fair.
all I see now.
Okay, fair enough. That was something that I just noticed. It just looked like a Woody Allen movie in the way it was filmed. I mean, Woody has a very
Interesting.
good. He's always used the same cinematographer. I don't
Yeah.
think so. It
Hmm.
just reminded me. So if neither of you, so you haven't, Vicky, you haven't seen A Real Pain. I mean, do you have any questions about it?
No, I'm actually intrigued by it because, of course, I'm very, very Polish, and
Oh yeah, Warsaw looks beautiful in this. I'm not being sarcastic. He
yeah,
he makes he does some good stuff filming around Warsaw, and there's also a scene where they're on a tour and they go to a
yeah.
concentration camp near Warsaw, and it's very respectful. And it's a very
I'm
deep
intrigued
film.
by the storyline, and I definitely will be giving it a watch. But I can also understand that I'm a little on the fence because of um, well, I of course take the history extremely seriously and my own family history. So, the way the trailer was, I was a little put off too. So I think it's something I'm going to watch as soon as it's available to stream.
It's on Hulu, so
Yeah, it's
Oh,
on
it's already on
Hulu.
Hulu.
yep. And for those, I've never cared about if a movie's short or long, like as long as it's a good movie. But for those who do
Right.
care, it's like a very tight 90 minutes.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, and I think one thing that you brought, I mean, it is very respectful to the history, and it it doesn't mock it. It takes it very seriously. The thing is, I think in the trailer they decided to show all the money shots with Culkin's character,
Hmm.
and the thing is that and I don't know if it's ever made clear if he's suffering, uh, if he's autistic or he's bipolar or he's whatever he
Mm.
mental issues is. Him, that's not made clear, is it? I mean, we
They
know he's
never
got some issues.
specifically diagnose him with anything. I've like he's I feel having some mental health issues, but they never explicitly say, "Hey, he's has X or Y or whatnot."
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so that's a real. It's also so I think the story was strong. I think unfortunately I think it's hard to do. And the thing is, some trailers. One thing I learned, Vicky might remember this. Some trailers are contracted out, and perfect
Yeah,
example of that is Star Trek 3, which gave away a big spoiler in the trailer, um, that they shouldn't
yeah.
have done. So sometimes they don't have control of what comes in these trailers. I mean, I think people like Jordan Peele tries to make sure that you keep the secret and the trailer
Mm.
doesn't blow whatever in the third
Yes.
act. And
Don't
to be,
do everything that's good in the trailer.
yeah,
That's I've made it a point in the last 2 years to not watch trailers. Like I'll only see a trailer if I'm at the theater and I have no choice because I'm sitting there. But it has made for a better movie experience because so many surprises, so many things I don't see coming because I go into a movie knowing the title and maybe a sentence of what it's about, but even then sometimes I don't even know that. And I recommend it highly.
okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, so moving on from A Real Pain, we go to our first Best Picture nominee, uh, The Nickel Boys, which has two nominations, Best Picture and Adapted Screenplay. Uh, both Kim and I have seen it. Have seen it. It's based on a book by Colson Whitehead about two boys who go to a school which is basically based on the Dozier School.
Hmm.
Kim, I haven't seen your review on it because you only saw it yesterday, so you have a fresh view. What'd you think?
Yes. So I was quite taken with it. I have been critical in recent years of movies or just art in general that their sole attraction, their sole purpose is look at this unique way that we did this thing. And that's why I was so hesitant to watch Nickel Boys at first because I saw the trailer. Oh, I was like, oh, it's just all it has going for it is that it's a first person perspective shot piece. And I have never been so wrong ever. It was
Oh,
phenomenal. There is a purpose to that decision, and they use it to its fullest extent. I was worried, unrelated to the art, that it would make me like motion sick, but it didn't. You get used to it's not like very jagged motions or anything. And it is a powerful, powerful story. And I am kind of shocked it doesn't have more nominations specifically for Best Supporting Actress. I think the grandma should have been nominated. She she every time she was on screen, just her slight facial expressions where you could see there was so much going behind the surface was profound. And it's kind of a shame. It's one of those ones where even in theaters it's kind of hard to catch. It's not very easy to catch right now, I don't think. And if it's still showing by you, definitely try to watch it because it was wow. I've never seen heard a it's been a while since I've been in a theater where it's been so quiet because people are so astounded.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, I saw it a few weeks ago. I think I wanted to see it at the best time I could, so I went to see it at the Altamont AMC, and I think I listened to an NPR review, but it went into the back of my mind, and the filming of it was, very complicated and unusual. And I know I told Kim about that they're using some clever camera angles, and the reason they're doing that is because, um, which is very ambitious, is because I'm pretty sure that the novel was told in a way, and then there's a twist in the novel which you can accomplish easy, I think, in prose than you would in film. So, I mean, if you, Kim, do you agree with me on that, or
Yes,
am I
yes,
off on
because
the?
no, I agree with you, and I won't say because
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about, and I was shocked because I didn't see that coming. I really didn't.
and I just realized we should talk. We'll try to avoid spoilers. We'll try to warn
Yeah.
people if we have to blow a spoiler here and there. But I think we'll try to keep it as vague because some of these, unfortunately, sometimes the films have a limited time when they're in the theater, and
Hmm.
then they might get a re-release, if they win awards or such, or people will catch them on streaming.
Yeah, so like if this was like Wicked, I'd feel more comfortable talking about spoilers because it was so widely available. But this one,
Right.
I feel it's so difficult to catch right
Yeah.
now that it's
Now, I don't even
I
think it's played here in Reno.
wow.
Really? Okay.
Well, I was telling Juan earlier, we have no independent movie theaters here at all anymore. And we
sad.
have two chains with two theaters of each. And that's it.
Wow.
If there's a big blockbuster or a horror film, it plays. I'm amazed at the things that I never see a showing. If they do it, it'll be, at 10 a.m. on a Friday or a Sunday, and I don't even realize it came and it left.
Wow.
And it's very disappointing. But this is one that is on the top of my list that I think I have to watch it. I'm familiar with the nonfiction story that it's loosely based on. And so I'm definitely intrigued. And now with what you've said, it makes me want to see it even more.
Yeah, and it's a shame that it seems like you won't be able to catch it in theaters because it's one of those where it's not like it's oh, there's all this action going on and the being in this big screen like really captures it. It's just just kind of the emotional weight of it, I feel lends to the
Yes.
experience a lot.
And tension, I
like
would
that.
say.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's the Nickel Boys. Now, the next film, I think I'm the only one who saw it. It's up for animated feature and best international feature because I believe it's made
I want to see it so
Croatia.
bad.
It's called Flow. Well,
I
sadly,
want to see it so bad.
it is on Max. No, wait.
Yes,
It is on Max. I saw it
Yes.
on Max. Flow is about a cat. It's a story about animated animals. None of them talk. They just act like animals, or at least so the thing is, it's about this cat, and the thing is, this cat is hanging around a place, and then essentially a flood floods the entire area where the cat lives. But the cat hops on a boat where there's I forget what type of creature it is. I thought it was an otter, but it's not an otter. To me, it looked like an otter, but there's an otter, and then they hook up with they hook up with some dogs who live in the area, and then they hook up with a bird, and they're on this boat trying to survive this flood and checking out all these things and trying to deal with the flood, and it's just a beautiful picture. I mean, and actually it's kind of interesting because even though I believe it's CGI or it's animated. Even if it's CGI, they keep moving the camera. It's like you'll face one animal and you'll then move to another animal, who's now the center of attention. So there was it's interesting in an animated film. You're actually doing camera movement of some sort. So at least that's what I noticed. And you got to take my word for it, since I talked to you guys, and I know that Vicky hasn't seen it, and I follow Kim on Letterboxd, so I usually and on social media, so I usually know what she's seeing.
Yeah,
So I
I
know.
wanted to catch it. I just haven't. I want to so bad.
So if you want to catch it, it's playing on a Max right now. That's where I saw it. And our next film there has two actor nominations. The Apprentice. Sebastian Stan is nominated for playing Donald Trump, and what is the name of the gentleman? Sorry, this let me look up.
Oh, the
Edward. No, not Jeremy Strong plays Roy Cohn. Now, the movie is essentially about Donald Trump's early years from the late 70s to the 80s, where he follows Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn is famous for being the counsel for Senator Joseph McCarthy during the McCarthy hearings, and so he's kind of not only is he a right winger, but he's a heavily closeted gay man. And so the thing is, he acted as Trump's fixer, and they form a friendship, and that friendship, well, not even a friendship. I don't know if you could call it that, but essentially they play it. And it's kind of scary how much I've seen pictures of Roy Cohn and how much Mr. Strong emulated Roy Cohn. Well, he had the haircut right. I mean, you haven't.
I haven't watched it yet, so I'm very. It's definitely on my list.
I believe it's on Max. I know it's streaming somewhere, and I saw it on Max. It's a very intriguing film. I mean, it, as I said, it shows his rise to power in New York real estate and his dealings with his father, with Cohn, and they both put on very good performances. Uh, what are the odds? Well, I don't want to do that. I just want to talk about the performances. So I'm the only one who saw it. Do you guys have any questions on it?
No. So how good is, because I feel you see Trump impressions all the time now. How good is he at Sebastian Stan at nailing Trump as like beyond just an impression, I would say.
I guess it's interesting because this is early Trump, and we get to see Trump in situations where he's not comfortable, he's not confident. So I don't know if that's a good thing, or he pulls it off. I mean, the thing is, this is the early Trump. I mean, we
Mhm.
first see him working for his father, collecting rents at apartments that his father owns, and dealing with that's one of the first scenes. And then he goes to a fancy schmancy club and meets Roy Cohn, and then Roy Cohn helps him on a case because uh, Trump was famous. They, deals with a case that they had with the Justice Department on fair housing that they had a problem with, and it just shows how they affected each other. And then, so you see Trump uncomfortable. Roy Cohn, and Roy Cohn has also been played. At least he's been played in Angels in America by Al Pacino.
Yes.
I don't know who else. Maybe that's the only other time somebody's played Roy Cohn. Um, and so I guess that's the thing. You do see Trump in a vulnerable state. You don't see him as the confident person we now know right now. So I guess, and I think he did try to, not make it an impression, try to create a character.
Got it.
Any other questions on The Apprentice?
No, I guess my main thing was that, and then also I didn't realize what era of Trump it was about.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to
Yeah, it
know.
ends. I mean, it's this is no spoiler since it's history. It ends when Trump is working on The Art of the Deal.
That's
He
funny.
he
It's
works
no
with
spoilers because it's history. That's funny.
Well,
Yeah.
this is a funny thing. I got into an argument at work because a worker who's kind of a joker, and he's a good worker.
Mhm.
We were talking about Hamilton, and I mentioned the end, that Hamilton
The
is shot.
very famous ending.
Right.
Hamilton is shot by Raymond Burr, and the guy goes,
No.
"Spoilers." And the thing is, the guy grew up in Panama, so he didn't do American history or knew about the duel. So that's why we made the joke. I go, "It's American history. You can't spoil American history."
I hope no one tells me how Titanic ends.
Anyway, so now we're going
Depends on
on to
which movie you watch.
Yeah, fair,
so
fair.
so now we're going to films of 3 nominations. We're going to start with the Wild Robot, which is up for Best Animated Feature, Score, and Sound. Now, did either of you see this?
No, this is one I meant to catch in theaters, and then by the time I was available to see it, it had already left. And I think it's on Peacock now, and I still
I
haven't been
think
able
so.
to
I
see
think
it.
that's where I watched it. So
But also, I'm hesitant because I know I probably will cry like a little baby.
Oh, I know.
yes.
I guess you were. There are some Simpsons scenes. I mean, I'll set up Wild Robot, and a robot falls out of a cargo crate and lands in a forest type
Already
environment.
sobbing. Already sobbing.
Yes.
And the robot learns how, is an adaptable robot and learns how to speak animal speak, and takes care of a wounded baby duck who got separated, whose mother got killed. I forget now, but he
It's
adopts a
Bambi.
baby
Oh
adopts a baby
no!
duck,
It is so Bambi. I'm sorry. It just is.
and he deals with how he takes care of this baby duck and deals with being found. And it's an interesting story. I mean, I just heard a podcast just completely devoted to it. I mean, obviously any of these films you could probably devote a podcast to, but it's a wonderful film. It's a beautiful looking film. um it was based on a book.
Oh, I didn't know
uh
that.
yeah, my friend, I think I saw it with my friend Pat, who's a librarian, and Ed. uh we all saw it together because this is a film I knew they'd like, and they loved it. I mean, it's beautiful. Vicky, any takes that you have on it?
Well, So the screenwriter and director of this is Chris Sanders, who of course brought us Lilo and Stitch as his first endeavor, and it hit all the right notes for me. It was a very emotional movie for me, both as a mother and a tree hugger, and you know, I thought it was beautifully done. There was just something about it that was just you felt good and you cried, and it was just one of those movies that is beautifully done. And for the people who poo-poo the message, well, poo-poo on them. So
That's actually on the poster. If you poo-poo the message, poo-poo on you.
And it's a very nice. I mean, it's a message about empathy and just adapting, and it's just about family and relationships. And there are a lot of gags. Again, you could do a whole show. Well, as I said, you could do a whole show on any of these films. And
yeah,
I guess I think when we take our break from categories, we can talk about the other things it's facing. That because I think these are the Wild Robot and Flow are the only animated films which have two nominations, more than two nominations. All of them are the other three competitors only have a single nomination, although they're very popular films. So, Kim, do you have any more questions about the Wild Robot?
No, I just know that I will need very, very, very many boxes of tissues because I will be crying a lot.
yes.
Okay. Now, next movie with three nominations is Sing Sing,
Oh.
which Kim and I saw at the Enzion, our local independent theater, and it's up for actor, screenplay, and the song. Um, I'll be honest, I was a little bit hesitant, but I knew Kim. I think this is one of those situations where Kim invited me, and I goes, "Well, I could be engaged with it." I mean, the thing is, it just doesn't look like it's a fun film. For those of you who don't know, it's essentially a dramatization of a real program in the Sing Sing prison, or Ossing as it's really known, where some of the inmates work with an acting coach director, and they do plays, they do Shakespeare, and we see them do a production of a play where they picked all the stuff they wanted to see in a play. And it's led by I think the actor that's up for Coleman Domingo, who was up for an award last year for playing the guy who organized the March on Washington in 1963. And he's playing the lead character, who's Divine G. Whitfield, who's our main character, who's, you know, a lead in this play and also trying to work on getting paroled or getting acquitted. And so we're seeing his story. Now, Kim, you're the one who really wanted to see this. What are your takes on it?
I am so mad that we live in a world where Emilia Perez is nominated for Best Picture and Sing Sing is not.
Now,
Because
save your Amelia Perez hate for
yes,
later.
yes, that's a sneak peek. But Sing Sing was by far the best movie of 2024. Full stop. The
Wow.
acting was incredible. And it's not just, oh, Coleman Domingo, he was fantastic. Everyone around him was fantastic.
And many of them were veterans of the actual prison program
Yes.
for actors. So,
Really?
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Like at the end, you get to hear more about that. You see a bit more about that. But it is it tells a story I feel like society doesn't like to see sometimes because we see, and not me, but many people see prisoners as less than and sometimes forget
Right.
that these are still people. So to have a movie that shows that and shows how a place like a prison system can wear you down again and again and again, and you only sometimes only have yourself to pick yourself back up. It was, oh my God, I am so frustrated that it feels like not many people saw it. It feels like it's not talked about enough. It was the best movie of 2024. Fantastic screenplay. I it I I was blown away. Blown away.
I was blown away as much. I mean, I was just it was just a good, well-made film. It looked good. It was, and obviously had a powerful message. So I I would have given it more nominations. I mean, it might have. I think it could have deserved some more technical nominations. And definitely, I think I could have. I wouldn't have been surprised. I can't imagine right now what I would take off for Best Picture, because I think with most of the Best Pictures are pretty strong right now, and we'll get to more of them as we go on. Vicky, do you have any more questions about Sing Sing?
No, but it's definitely moved up in my list of things to watch.
That makes me very happy. If
Yeah, is
that's
it
one thing I accomplished today, that's all I need.
Yes.
is it streaming anywhere? I'm
I
not sure
don't.
since we saw it
I
in the
haven't
You
theater.
can
seen
only
it.
buy it off of sites at the moment. You can only rent it or buy it. You can't watch for free on any streaming sites yet.
Got
Okay.
it.
All right. Moving up, our last film with three nominations is I'm Still Here, which is a Brazilian film, so it's up for international picture, and it's also up for Best Picture and also up for Best Lead Actress for Fernanda Torres, playing Eunice Pavia, and who's Brazilian. The film is from Brazil. It is essentially we follow a family living in Brazil in 1970 in the middle of a brutal military dictatorship, and the husband used to be a member of the opposition party, and unfortunately he has disappeared. The wife and one of his daughters has disappeared for a little bit, but they released them, and so we follow the wife as she deals with not having her husband around and not even knowing the final fate of her husband until years later. And I think I'm the only one who saw this. It's a very powerful film. Miss Torres does a really great job performing a woman who's got to be the strength for this family, and a very smart woman. They actually take a break. They do a 20-year jump where they show her being a political activist, and sadly, one of the great accomplishments she does for herself personally is finally declared that her husband was legally dead. It took them 20 years to establish that because they just
Yeah.
killed him in prison, and they wouldn't admit to it, and it had to be until the dictatorship went away. So, do either of you have questions about I'm Still Here?
No, it's the last of the best picture ones I haven't seen. By the time this airs, I'll have seen it. I'm seeing it in 2 days. It's not from lack of wanting to see it. It's one that I had only heard whispers about until the Oscar nominations were announced. And then finally I was like, oh, okay, I really need to sit down and watch this. So I'll be checking it out in a few days.
Okay. Is it playing? Still playing in a theater, or is it in
Yes,
streaming?
yes.
Okay.
It's one of those where you can tell it only has a few days left before they pull it because it's like one showing a day.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, okay. And now we go on to four nominations. We only have one movie with four nominations, and that's Nosferatu, which is up for technical awards for production, cinematography, makeup, and costume. And it is right now streaming on Peacock if you're interested in seeing it. Kim and I have seen it. Vicky, I forget, did you see it or
I haven't watched it yet. I was actually going to watch it last night, and then it was really late at night, and I was like, maybe I'll wait and I'll watch it tomorrow.
well, if
I'm
I think
thinking 1 a.m. not a good idea to start that movie, especially when the wind was howling last night.
oh yeah, no.
it is Nightmare Fuel. Now, I didn't realize that Mr. Eggers, is it Edgar's, directed the film. Now, I've seen The Witch. I have not gotten around to seeing The Lighthouse.
Oh
I
my
missed it.
dude. The Lighthouse is my favorite of his. Not because it's Robert
Oh,
Pattinson, but The Lighthouse is so good. So funny
yeah.
and great. And
Well,
it
Kim, since you've seen The Lighthouse and The Witch, I felt that Nosferatu really looks similar in cinematography and the
mm,
color palette as The Witch. So is it the same? Well, no, the
well,
Lighthouse is in
Lighthouse
black
is
and
in
white.
black and white, yeah.
Right. So, but to me, it's like I didn't realize that Robert Eggers um, directed this film, and I wasn't really eager to see it. It was playing at the Enzion for several weeks. I hate to tell you this, and I hope this is considered an ambush. It was your preview of it when you said that, hey, I saw Nosferatu, and you showed 3 pictures. And the thing is, when you pulled out the middle picture was from the silent film
Oh,
Nosferatu. So I
that was
thought they made.
actually no, that was a joke because that's actually a clip from SpongeBob SquarePants where they
Ah,
have Nosferatu in there.
Oh,
That's how I
really?
that's how I promise you. If you ask most people who are in their late 20s, early 30s, how they found out about Nosferatu, they'll tell you the hat slinging slasher episode of SpongeBob SquarePants
oh
'cause
my God.
Nosferatu appears at the very end.
Well, the thing is, I actually saw the original silent film. My local
Yeah.
library in the Dade County library system, they had the original silent film, and I always was disturbed that Orlok looks like an alien, and it just,
He's
to
cute.
me,
Well, when you read Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Mhm.
he's not suave. That was created
Yeah,
purely by
he's
by
kind of
Todd
Bella.
Browning.
gross. He's
Yes,
kind of
Todd Browning
gross.
and Bela Lugosi created that image.
Okay, and
He was described Nosferatu, and the reason that Bram Stoker's wife was successful in her lawsuit was exactly described as is pictured.
Mhm.
okay. Well, when I finally saw the movie, and I realized that he looks strange, but not inhuman, at least in my opinion. When we see, and the thing is, and we rarely see Orlok completely because he's usually in shadow
Mhm.
or in
Yeah.
substance. I mean, Kim, and you're a little bit more of a horror expert than I am. So what was your take
I
on the
felt
film?
like the strongest part of the movie is that first act. It really sets that eerie feeling as he's going to Orlok's castle. I thought the Skarsgård's decision on the voice was very well done because you're not expecting him to sound like that. I thought the look of Orlok was very well done because again, you're used to you couldn't do it exactly how it was in the original, and you can't go a Dracula route because we've already seen that. If you're
Hmm.
not going to do something new, then why do it at all? But they settled on a look and a voice that was very creepy, which I liked. My issue with the movie is that at one point it felt like it was getting a bit too repetitive with some of the sequences, and I wish
Hmm.
they had maybe cut one or two of those out. And I like I said before, I don't mind a longer movie, but I feel like it could have been tightened a bit.
Well,
Ah,
In Peacock, they claimed they extended it,
Apparently, and
yes,
I don't
there
know
is
if
an
this
and I
is
don't know
extended
true.
where.
edition.
I don't know if it's true or not, but from what I've heard, it's not like the longest extension. Now, if I'm wrong, correct me, but at least from what I've heard.
The thing is, when I saw it, I zoned out in a couple of places the first time, so I rewatched it on Peacock, and so I can't tell where they extended it. I mean, but I mean, if it's a great horror movie, I'm actually kind of surprised since it got all these technical awards, it didn't make Best Picture, but maybe the horror
Yeah, I think they
put it
couldn't
off.
put in two horrors for Best Picture. That was never gonna happen.
Well, we have 3 fantasy films in Best Picture, or science fiction fantasy films, I should say. So, but yeah, I mean, I was impressed by it. I mean, I think, as I said, the same color palette as The Witch. I mean, it's got everything is kind of
It's kind of
bleak. It's not
darker.
bright.
It's kind of darker and bluer, I would say, than The Witch.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
I thought they're out. Well, I always felt that the outdoor scenes, or the scenes that were the outdoor scenes, kind of reminded me of The Witch, and it didn't. That's why it didn't surprise. Because I forgot that
Mm,
he directed this, so that was a surprise.
I think kind of like how I was saying with the lighthouse, one thing people don't realize with Nosferatu, at least this iteration, is that it does have some comedy elements because it is Eggers. Aside from the witch, he does throw in some comedy elements, and Willem Dafoe's character is the perfect example of that. He says some lines that I had to cackle because it was so funny.
I guess that was my only. Now that you reminded me about that, I think I forgot about this. This is my only criticism of the film because the Defoe character, who's essentially their
Helsing.
Helsing character, he denounces science. He goes, science can only explain so much. I have seen things which would make Isaac Newton crawl back into the womb. That's a literal line for those of you
Yes,
who
and
haven't
that's
seen
one
it.
of those lines where I cackled because
I
I was
didn't
like,
laugh at it. It's like,
I
You,
thought it was so funny, the delivery. Oh my gosh.
to me he was playing it straight, and I was a little bit angry because I'm a very pro science person. I mean, the thing is, to me, like
I think it was meant to make you pissed.
the supernatural is just a science that we don't understand yet. That's how I look at it,
Oh, I
because
like that.
well, the thing is, in science fiction and fantasy, the big thing is that you have to have an interior consistency. If you don't have if you don't have that interior consistency, then you kind of lose the suspension of belief. At least that's my theory.
Mm.
But I probably picked that up from somewhere. So that I mean, so I unlike Kim, I don't think I saw a lot of laughs in it. I mean, it's to me,
I think it's a very specific type of comedy where if you aren't tuned into that specific type of Eggers comedy, you won't even realize that it's supposed to be comedy. It comes across as straight.
Yeah.
okay. So I don't know if it was I forgot if it was a trailer or you saw it first, and I saw that because that was the thing that disturbed me about the silent film, that Orlok looks like an alien. He looks like a
He's
bald
so
Yeah.
dolphin.
cute.
Well, I
Adorable.
haven't seen the
It's
SpongeBob,
a
so
bat-like creature.
Well, in the SpongeBob, it's literally just the original 1923. What is it? No, Nosferatu, but with like
Yeah.
he's turning on and off a light switch.
well that's
Oh my
that's
God. Yes.
the whole thing with bats and vampires. I thought that was a product of the Lugosi film, because
No.
think in the book, I don't think in the book he transmutes as a bat. I could be wrong about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody,
I'm trying to remember now, if he actually, or if it's just his minions, but
I
there
don't
are a couple of
remember.
earlier vampire books, in the same time period that refer to, vampires and bats.
well, anyway, so anything else on Nosferatu?
No, very cute.
Well, anyway, I said let's take a quick pause in nominations and talk about uh some of the other categories which didn't get as many nominations. Let's go to, and we talked about the best animated feature film. Of the other films which only got one nomination, I saw them all, was uh Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, and Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, um, along with The Wild Robot and Flow. Um, have I don't kid. Vicky, did you see Inside Out 2?
Yes.
Um,
And it was cute. It had some good bits. The first movie had taken me a while to enjoy. I didn't like the movie initially. And Inside Out 2 was fine. It was a little formulaic for me,
Hmm.
but it just, I don't know. I don't think that this was the best year for animation.
Yeah.
Um, but I would much prefer the Wild Robot over Inside Out 2, but I haven't seen Flow yet. I did see Wallace and Gromit. That's on, I think, Netflix
Netflix.
now.
Mm.
So, and it was Wallace and Gromit. I mean, it's great, but it just, I like something different. And I found that the Wild Robot, even though I can feel influences, to me it was just much better.
I'm kind of sad that Feathers McGraw is not nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I mean, is he a chicken? Is he a penguin? Great disguise.
Oh, Feathers, you evil schemer, you. Now I did see. Uh, Now neither of you have seen Memoir of a Snail, right?
I almost did because
Oh no.
I was going to see a movie and then I left and I was like, oh, maybe I should see another movie. And then I determined I was too tired. But if I had, it was going to be Memoirs of a Snail, and then I never did.
Now I think that might be streaming on Prime. I think I had to pay for that one. Um, I know I saw it on streaming. It's a very sincere movie. It's a very personal story. It is R-rated,
What?
because oh,
I'm
What?
sorry.
well, it's
Excuse
essentially
me?
it's a story about two twins. It's a boy and a girl, and they grow up. And the thing is, their mother sadly died at childbirth. Her mother was an
Oh.
Australian who went to Paris and bumped into their father, who was a street performer, and they fell in love. And the father sadly had was hit by a drunk driver, and was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And sadly, he didn't live long enough for his kids to be adults, and they were sent to foster children. The daughter, who's the main character, the main point of view character, is sent to Canberra, and the the son gets sent, her brother gets sent to Perth, which is completely on opposite ends of Australia. And the main character has an obsession with snails.
Oh.
Her name is Grace. It's Grace and Gilbert. And so, and then Grace is kind of isolated, and she gets into a bad relationship, and the son is raised by a bunch of fundamentalists who run an apple orchard, and they're very cruel to him and things. So it's about it. All works. A minor spoiler. It all works out at the end. But it's a story. It's a little bit rough. I mean, obviously you're dealing with death. And also they're dealing. I mean, dealing dealing with some harsh things. I mean, Grace's best friend, Pinky, she's this woman who's lived an extraordinary life, and unfortunately, at the end, and Kim, content warning, suffers Alzheimer's disease.
Oh
I know
man.
because your
Oh.
grandmother. I remember your grandmother had that, and you're always big
Yeah.
on Alzheimer's charities. So, uh, it's a good, powerful film. It's a little bit different. It's I forget if it's what type of animation is it, stop motion animated, and it's described as a tragic comedy film according to Wiki. So catch that. Now there's two films which only got one nomination each, which I think deserve some recognition. One is September 5th, which was nominated for Best Writing Original Screenplay, which is about the coverage by the ABC Sports Department of the Munich Olympics when the Olympic team was taken hostage by Palestinian terrorists. I know that's a loaded term, but that's the
Yeah.
facts as I understand them. And so the thing is, at there's a dual, it's like when they find out that they're on top of a major news story, they're wondering whether they should send a news team, but there's no news team available. And they say, hey, we're here, we got the equipment, we're going to do this story as best we can and do it. I mean, there's one point where they have to take a chance. And Kim, you're a journalism major, and the thing is, they have to say, as we hear it, because they were doing this thing so fast they couldn't get two confirmations
Mm.
for their information. So if they heard a fact,
Interesting.
they had to say as we hear it, because we do not have two confirmations. And
Yeah,
that did
see,
Uh-uh.
on my because like obviously I dealt with this a lot when we were reporting on Pulse. If it wasn't confirmed, you didn't go on air with it, like full stop. Like
Yeah.
that's how at least where I worked it operated. You have to have confirmation to report something.
so yeah, that was just and I saw it, and it was just a really powerful film, and they covered the story from beginning to end, of at least when the ending of the story, which is history. If you don't know it, shame on you. Well, it's check out the history books, I should say.
Yes.
The other thing which I think was interesting, which only got one nomination, was in cinematography. Maria, which is about the opera singer Maria Callas, and this is at the end of her career. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially, she's reviewing her career, and also she had it's done by the same gentleman who did the movies Jackie and Spencer.
Mm.
and
Interesting.
and so this is I guess this is his conclusion in his important 20th century women trilogy, and that's a thing that somebody writing at Wiki came up with. So, and it's interesting also because both Maria had a relationship with Aristotle Onassis before he married Jackie. So
Yes.
there's an
Oh.
interesting.
He was actually obsessed with her.
Oh yeah, 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 and they talk about that relationship, and and the thing is that it's mainly told in flashback because she's literally, it's literally coming close to the end of her life,
Mhm.
and dealing with the fact that maybe that she can't go back to performing anymore. And it did look beautiful. It's on Netflix. It was a Netflix, I think it was Netflix produced film, and it did look beautiful, and and it's the only film that is not a Best Picture that's up for cinematography. And just one more thing, I did see the best animated and live action short films. I'll talk about them briefly. Let's talk about live action film. Alien. It's A capital Lien. Um, Kind of a play on Alien. It's essentially a couple, the husband, it's about a couple and their child. They go to immigration, and the thing is, the husband is trying to get a green card, but he is illegal. And the thing is, this is how ICE gets people, because they got to go to immigration to get their paperwork sorted. So they're in this kind of nebulous phase, which ICE can technically arrest them. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about the story. Uh, Anuja, which is an Indian film about a young girl who seems to be a prodigy, and who works in a garment factory in India, and she has to decide whether she's going to take this class, which will send her into a private school and get a good education, or stick with her sister and work in the factory. The most darkest humor film of these shorts is I Am Not a Robot, where a woman, a Dutch woman who works at a radio production facility, no, excuse me, a music production facility. She's a music producer. She's trying to update her software, and she has to go through those things where you have to prove you're not a robot. And she fails, and it seems like she might be a robot. And that's
I
the
love
gist
that.
of that film. The Last Ranger, this is a bittersweet film about a story of a young girl who hangs out with her older friend who's a ranger at a park in South Africa, which has rhinos. And unfortunately, they encounter poachers. A lot of poachers help finance nefarious activities by getting rhino horns. And some people believes it, mainly men, who believes that it gives them potency or powers and stuff like that. And the last film is The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent, which I believe is Croatian short film, which is about, it is set in the 90s during the breakup of Yugoslavia and all the wars that were happening there. And essentially a bunch of people on a train. And the thing is, the military stops the train and they want to check everybody's papers to see if I think they're looking for Muslims, because one of the things they ask is like, who's your patron saint, and try to see if they can catch people who don't have a patron saint and pull them off the train. And one guy stands up to them. He was ex-military and goes, "Hey, stop harassing these people." And he walks off the train. He shows that he's an ex-officer. He walks off the train with these other guys who are trying to take people off the train, and we never know what happens to him again. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I mean, these are short films, and this is in tribute to the people who stood up to it. So I take it neither of you have seen the short films.
No, usually that's a part of the Oscars is always in my blind spot, and that's on me, not for lack of wanting to. It's one of those things I always get to last.
Okay.
I've seen a couple of them because they're already on
Streaming,
Netflix and Amazon. So like Anua and The Only Girl in the Orchestra are both, I think, on Netflix, and those were both really good. I like those.
well, The Only Girl in the Orchestra is best documentary short film, and that's my blind spot.
Yes.
So that's the documentaries sadly are always my blind spot. I want to get to some of them, but I can't.
I'm always on the fence with them because I feel like there are sometimes so many good ones, and it's interesting this year seeing the differences in which ones are getting listed on which award shows.
Okay. Best animated short film, which I actually saw twice because one of my friends couldn't make it to the first showing because she was under the weather, so we saw it yesterday. Beautiful Men, which was produced, I think it's a Dutch film, or produced Belgian, Dutch, French, and it's about three brothers who go to Turkey to get hair transplants, and some problems arise. That's the summation of the film. Actually, it was interesting the order that they showed it in. It's not in the same order that's listed here in Wiki, which is my source, but when they showed them, they alternated like humorous, serious, humorous, serious, and or kind of dark.
It
So
looks like from the order you told the other ones, and this might be just the order they're listed on the actual Oscars website.
well, I think it could be alphabetical order by the look of it and on the wiki. At least
Oh, I didn't notice. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
so the next film is a darker film called In the Shadow of Cyprus, which was made it was an Iranian film, and it's about a gentleman who is suffering from PTSD and who's living with his daughter who's about to have enough. But the thing is, they live on a beach house and a whale gets beached, and the daughter is trying, they're both trying to help the whale, but after a certain point, the father goes to the wrecked ship, which is one of the sources, the history of it is the source of his PTSD. And in trying to help out the whale, he's trying to deal with his PTSD. And, it's told in flashbacks and stuff like that. It's traditional drawn animation. Beautiful Men. I thought it might be stop motion, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, it could be CGI. In the Shadow of the Cypress is hand-drawn animation. My favorite, Magic Candies, which is a Japanese animated film, which actually got produced by Toei, one of the biggest film producers in Japan. It's about a young boy who finds 5 magic candies at a store, or he finds out they're magic candies, and when he eats them, strange things happen. Like he can understand the sofa and his dog.
I love that.
One candy he can hear how the sofa speaks, and in the next candy he can hear his dog speak. And he goes through these 5 candies and he finds out stuff, and it's just a beautiful picture. That's what they opened up when they showed it at the Enzion Magic Candies. So that would be my vote. Wander to Wonder is a combination. I think it's stop motion and live action because it's supposedly about this show. It's about a kid show where this guy, Uncle Gilly, talks to these 3 little characters, Mary, Billy Budd, and Fumbleton, and they look like puppets or they're bear puppets or something like that. And they, do the things you would see in a kid show. But then you find out that underneath the puppets are miniature human beings. And early on, you find out that the guy who ran the show is dead and they're trapped
Oh
in
my
his
gosh.
house. And they have to deal with that. And it's dark. It kind of has an optimistic ending at the end, but when they're dealing with how are they surviving, and they keep doing their own shows, although they kept getting these shows that they're video because they still have a video camera, so they're still taping shows on their puppet set because they're miniature human beings. So and they're trying to deal with the catastrophe that has befell them. And the
Wow.
last film is a cute film. It's called Yuck. It's French, and it's about following a group of little kids who are at the age where kissing is yucky. And the thing is, in the film, when people have the urge to kiss, their lips glow. And one of the little boys starts to seeing his lips glow, and there's one of their group is a redheaded girl, and so there's this attraction between them. But they're kids. I mean, they're preteen kids, and they're acting like kids, and they don't know how to deal with how they feel. They feel
That's
embarrassed, and
perfect.
he gets to be a jerk to the redheaded girl. But again, as spoiler less as it can, they all work out.
Oh, but of course.
So that's animated and live action shorts. The only other film that I saw 2 films which I liked, which only got 1 nomination for best visual effects. I saw one when it was released, and I saw one yesterday called Alien Romulus, which did look very good effect wise, and it was actually a pretty decent alien story. I was kind of surprised. They even brought back an android which looked like Ian Holm from the original film. If you guys
No
haven't
way.
seen
Okay,
it,
now I gotta watch that one.
I
I
do
love the
worry
alien
though.
movies.
Like, I do worry about, because this is happening more and more, the ethical implications of bringing back people from the dead in movies in that way.
yeah, you got a point. And they also got his voice. His voice sounded Right. But actually, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not even playing the same alien. He's not playing Ash. He's playing an Ash model alien called Rook. So, and I don't know if
Oh.
that's why they got the effect. The other, do you guys have any other questions about Alien Romulus?
No, I didn't catch it. I really only like the first two Alien movies, so I haven't really watched anything after that.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't give. I know you love Fincher. I'm surprised, and I know Fincher did not have a fun time making Alien 3. It was his first film, and there
Yeah,
were a
it's not
lot of
even
problems.
really his film, it's the studio's film at that point.
Yes,
Right. And the other film,
definitely not
which,
one of the better of
Yeah.
any.
and I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was also, this is their only nomination for Best Visual Effects. And I liked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I mean, the apes move around like apes and they do a lot
Yeah.
of stunting things, and they do a really good, I don't know if this is part of the visual effects or production design. They create a very interesting ruined Earth. So I think those are two good films, and I'm glad they got their visual effects nomination. So I think that kind of covered. I mean, I don't want to go into best song. I feel bad. There were some good thing. There was Six Triple Eight, which I still haven't seen, which got nominated for best song, and also a movie about Elton John, Never Too Late, which I didn't see,
I
which
didn't
got
see that one
nominated for
either.
best song. Um, but
I felt like I'm just going to say that the best song category this year, I feel is very thin.
Yes.
fair enough, and we'll get
And
to
I'm just
talking
going to
about.
say that.
We'll talk about that later on. But now let's move back on to films which have more than two nominations. We're now up to five, and we have two films. And we might briefly talk about one film because those of you who listen to Mark Who 42 should listen to our show, which all three of us talked about, The Substance, which has for nominations Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for Demi Moore, Best Screenplay, and Best Makeup. Uh, we all had opinions on the film. I mean, I think I found it engaging and I think worth your time. Kim, I think you were a little bit more critical about it.
Critical, but overall supportive of the message it's sending.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think and some people believe, I don't know if you guys have heard, the Academy tried to, broaden its membership. So, try to get different types of films in the Oscars and also try to get more diverse voices in the Academy. So some people have said, and I'm not as a dig, but the fact that I think The Substance making Best Picture and Best Director was a big surprise to a lot of people,
Yes.
but think it might have been an effort to a younger crowd coming in. That was the other thing, younger filmmakers of all stripes coming in, of all different divisions. And I mean the makeup, particularly in the third act, I think, was it makeup? I'm looking at my cheat sheet. Yeah, I mean that definitely looked believable to me. I mean, I know as I said, in my opinion, your appreciation of the first act, I just told this to a friend of mine, your appreciation of the film will depend on how you feel about the third act.
Yes.
So,
That's a great way to put it.
but I told this to a friend of mine, and he goes, "Yeah, but you're already into the movie too late. It's not like you can bail out at the movie by the third act." And I go, "Yeah, that is true." And you have to stick to that. So, The Substance. The next film, which has five nominations, is Dune Part 2, and it is up for Best Picture, Best Sound, Best Production, uh, Visual Effects, and I'm trying to read my own. Oh, cinematography. I only wrote Cine, and that was confusing me because I was trying to be clever. Uh, Now I'm a big fan of Dune the book, and uh, I will take something to task with you, Kim. I read your review, and I know that you have a low opinion of Paul, or at least that's how I understood it.
Well, I think the book has a low opinion of Paul.
Well, I think Paul, this is how I look at Paul, and you guys can take me apart for it. The thing is, Paul is trying to do the best that he can. He wants to do right by everybody, but the thing is, and they copied this for Marvel's the um the Infinity War and Endgame, is like he's seeing all the possibilities, and unfortunately the best possibility he's more comfortable with is going to suck for a lot of people. And and I think he's trying, this is the best solution he's got to the problem. And in fact, in the later books, his son will have to go further in order to save humanity. And that's why, when Paul makes his decision, which will lead to a horrible war, he's doing it because he wanted to avoid it. He couldn't figure out a way not to avoid it. And all the other paths were worse than what he was going into. That's how I interpret it. And I think,
I see Paul and the whole Bene Gesserits and what happens in Dune as I think it has to be seen as an overall metaphor. So not Paul specifically almost as a person, but the overall metaphor of what the Bene Gesserits have done here and what Paul is moving forward based on that plan, what it stands for. Where it's societies of color and white people coming in and being like, no, this is how we're doing it. And essentially setting in a religion to play over thousands of years to take over this society essentially.
hmm. Yeah, although one thing is the Bene Gesserit is pretty diverse, if particularly in the TV series, which came on a few months ago.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't seen the TV, but I think more as a metaphor of what Paul stands for is he kind of sucks.
okay. I have to disagree with you there. I think he's a guy who's trapped in a situation. He's trying to make the best decisions that he can, and the decisions he has to make are not good ones. Vicky, do you have any opinions on Dune Part 2?
Okay, I found that part two and visually stunning. I understand some of the choices made, and I know that the 1984 movie is a cult classic for a reason. I know it diverges from the books a bit, and it's a little trite compared to the books. I mean, of course, the book is a freaking tome. It is the War and Peace of
Oh
science
God, it's
fiction.
not that long. I gotta say no, it is not that long. I think it's
I don't think
500 pages at
it's
least.
not at least the version I have, like I like in my book, it's like about 450. I think it's just dense.
It's very dense. There are some choices made in these movies I do not like. And I feel that we get, and I think one of my problems with the Paul character is because we do not have his internal dialogue. I made this comment when we reviewed the first part a couple years ago. Not having Paul's internal struggle included as part of these movies to me is a distraction because to me it was vital in the books. Now, yes, I read the books 30 something years ago. But I just felt that if I knew nothing about it, I might have enjoyed these movies more. I don't think it's a best picture movie by a long shot. Best cinematography, hands
Would
down.
you say it's one of the weaker of the nominees then?
Yeah, I put it in my bottom three.
Okay.
I couldn't. It would be on my top 3 because I'm just a big Dune fan. So that's my
And I view
prejudice.
myself as a big Dune fan who doesn't like it because I'm a big Dune fan. But I've had
Fair
this
enough.
argument with other people, so I think that we just fall on different sides of the same coins.
I do like the first one more. I like this one, but I do like the first one more.
Okay. Anything more about Dune Part 2?
Paul bad.
Oh, we'll have to agree to disagree on this one.
Okay.
Now, a movie that I'm pretty sure Kim and I can more agree upon, or at least, but although I think we might be liking it for different aspects. With 6 nominations, we have Honora, which is up for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for the lead. Let me get her name. I know her first name, and we're not even on speaking
Mikey
terms.
Madison?
Yep, Mikey. Yep. I thought it was, Mikey Madison as Honora, and also for supporting actor, Yura Borisov as Igor, aka Nice Goon. And it's up for screenplay and editing. And now I love the trailer for this. I was intrigued by the trailer for this. And Kim and I saw it together at the Enzion, and I think I like the film. I mean, Mikey Madison does a very good job of portraying a character, and to me, she's fairly sympathetic. She's not a perfect person, but she's trying to do her best in a crazy situation, particularly in the third act. The situation completely goes ape, you know, and she's trying to deal with it as best she can, and and you feel for her pain. Um, Kim, I know you got a lot of opinions, and I know if I recall correctly, right now this would be your number one pick
Out
for
of the Best Picture nominees,
yeah,
yes, absolutely my number one pick. I, I, it's very interesting to me because I saw a lot of people talking online that they felt like Mikey Madison didn't really bring any depth to the character, and I completely disagree. It's
agree. I
just
agree
that,
with
yeah,
you.
because I think what people need to understand is, as her character Nora, is that she puts on a strong front because inside there is a lot going on. There's a lot of hurt going on. There's a lot of self-doubt going on, but she puts on that strong front. And what you see at the end, that's the Honora with all those barriers down.
Mm.
Phenomenal. And then I think even out of the best actors in supporting roles, Yura, he's by far my favorite for that choice. It's his was subtle, but just the way he would move his eyes, very subtle expressions, I thought went a long way in this character.
I guess I didn't pay enough attention to Igor because him and his boss and his partner are the definition of incompetence. Because they do a bad job. They had one job: keep an eye on this kid who probably doesn't have a history of making good decisions, and they fail at that job, and then they gotta clean up after themselves. And it's so I guess I wasn't paying attention, and I know he has the scenes that he has at the end. Try to obviously he's the kind. He's kind, and he tries to treat Honora with kindness, and I guess that's why he kind of sticks out. And I guess I didn't pay attention of I didn't pay attention to the subtlety that Kim mentioned. Vicky, do you have any opinions on Honora?
I haven't seen it yet, and I'll be honest, when I first saw a trailer, I wasn't sure if it was just going to be one of those trite, not a rom-com, but kind of a, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be trite. And then I started to hear more things, and I don't know, I saw something on somebody's list, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to look really interesting. And frankly, as it started to get some interesting awards, I'm like, okay, so this is not the type of movie I thought it was going to be. This actually looks like it's going to be really interesting. So it's on my list now, and I believe it is just now coming onto streaming, like Peacock or Paramount or something. And
Okay.
so it's one of those that it's like, okay, I now think I need to watch this because I think it's going to be so much more than my original impression.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the trailer does a bad job at showing what type of movie this is because I got that same impression from the trailer, but the reason I was more interested is because of the Sean Baker element. I was like, oh, well, I've liked his past stuff. I think there might be something here that the trailer is not showing.
Very cool.
Now we get into 8 nominations, and the first of those films is Conclave, and Conclave is up for Best Picture, Best Actor for Ray Fiennes, Best Supporting Actress for Isabella Rossellini, Best Screenplay, Score, Sound, and Costume. And for those of you who don't know, essentially the Pope has died, and we follow a man who must run the conclave, aka the election of a new Pope. And he wants to try to run it with integrity, but inside and outside forces are making it a challenge for him. I really like this film. I mean, I read Kim's review, and there is a lot of pettiness in the film that she
It's Mean
mentioned.
Girls, but at the Vatican. It's so funny.
And she's true, but the thing is, I
so
feel
real.
Cardinal, the character played by Ray Fiennes, uh, Cardinal Lawrence. I honestly think he's got an integrity. He really wants this thing to go right, and he doesn't want the papacy. That is a clear thing. He doesn't feel worthy, or he doesn't want the burden of the papacy.
He wants
Even
to
though that there's
retire,
some
damn it.
people who believe because of that he should be the Pope, and he wants to do this the right thing. He wants it to be fair. He wants this situation to be done right, and
Yes.
that's his sole purpose. And I think I'm glad that he got Ray Fiennes got the nomination, because I think that's his conflict. I want to do this right thing, and there are a lot of things going around that should I do this? Should I do that? What is the best decision we could make? Isabella Rossellini, I don't think she ever does a bad performance when I see her in a film, and I like her. That
Oh,
I think
amen.
I think she's also trying to do a righteous performance. Kim, anything else
Oh my
that
god.
I missed about the
I
conclave? Because
think we need to highlight the actor who played Tedesco. His comedic timing with that vape was nominate that vape for best prop, because
I
that was
forgot about that vape.
fantastic. Oh my god. When in the
Yes.
cafeteria scene where they're all just like, oh, this is really awkward, and then he just vapes.
Yep.
Comedic gold. Nominate the vape.
I have to say that I loved the accuracy of this movie. And yes, it is petty. And as a lifelong Catholic and as someone who taught catechism for 25 years, I will tell you that the pettiness going back to the Nicene treaties of 600 AD, the pettiness that goes into everything and the factions and the groups was so freaking spot on. Middle schoolers have nothing on the Vatican.
That's great.
And I very much enjoyed this movie. And yes, I'm terrified with Pope Francis right now in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should go do a conclave, guys.
I'll
I'll
do
be
one with you
Tedesco.
guys.
I'll be Tedesco with the vape. No, except without his ideas. Without his ideas, just the vape.
All right, so I think there's nothing more to add on the conclave. Also, with 8 nominations, is A Complete Unknown, which is up for Best Picture, Best Actors for both supporting and lead. Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, and Edward Norton as Pete Seeger. Actress, I want to get the actress's name right.
Monica Barboa.
Monica Barboa, who plays Joan Baez.
Who plays my wife? Let's be honest.
I read your review. I know how you feel about her. It's also up for want to make sure it's up for Best Director, Screenplay, Sound, and Costume. And I saw this in the theaters. I mean, for those of you who don't know, A Complete Unknown is about the early career of Bob Dylan, and mainly when he switches from folk to a more rock and roll type of music. I think it was interesting. I mean, it showed the faceted. Oh, in my review that I put on Letterboxd and also on my blog, I said Nobel laureate Bob Dylan. No, and he is. I mean, apparently he didn't want to have dinner with the King of Sweden, which is part of formally
Yes.
accepting the award. Although I do wonder, and this is a minor jab, Bob, if you're listening.
Can you
did
imagine?
Did you take the money?
Oh my god.
I thought so. Take the damn money.
Take the money and give it. Well, obviously, when Dr. King won his Nobel Peace Prize, he gave it to a bunch of civil rights organizations to help them out. So,
Yeah.
but I think it was an interesting movie. Obviously, if you like Bob Dylan's tunes, it was a fun movie to hear about. And Bob was a
Well, it's the modern Great Schism when Bob Dylan went electric.
Yeah, but that's a big conflict at the end of the third act when he's going to go electric, and apparently Pete Seeger doesn't want him to go electric.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that was such a big deal. I mean,
My God! Even in the 70s, years after the fight, I will tell you, growing up, listening to my aunts and arguing about it was hilarious.
That's great.
Mean, the Byzantine and Catholic split has nothing on when Bob Dylan went electric. I mean, there are factions of my family that are early Bob Dylan and late Bob Dylan, period.
Interesting. Oh, also there was
Like
one
both versions
interesting.
of
There
them.
was one interesting thing in the film. I don't know if you guys knew about this. Let me look this up. Uh, the name of the woman who played Bob's girlfriend through most of the film, Sylvia Russo. Well, she was based on Susie Rotolo. Uh, and Bob said, "Hey, could you give her another name? Don't use a real identity." And the thing is, I think I don't know why, because Susie Rotolo went into art. She went into painting, at least if I heard right. So I don't know why Bob didn't want her named. Sadly, she's passed. But yeah, I'm just kind of surprised. I thought that was an interesting fact that he requested that her name be changed
Yeah.
and not use her real
Interesting.
name, particularly since she was a celebrity in her own right in the art world. I mean, she has her own wiki entry, if that's a metric for anything. Kim, so you have any more opinions? I mean, you have a more structured like of music than I do, even though.
All right. So, contrary to the vast majority of the population, I don't like Bob Dylan's music simply because his voice is so grating to me. It's just like, oh my God, can you stop speaking from your nose for 1 second of your life? But that aside, I still enjoyed this movie despite all that. I enjoyed this movie. Thought Timothy Chalamet kind of captured that vibe pretty well. And I mean, it's your typical, when you think of a typical Oscar nominated movie, this is it, right? Like the one where like the old school Oscar voters, they love this type of thing. So I'm not surprised it's leading the pack with like so many nominations, but I don't I don't know if I'd pick it for any of them. I mean, I think
Yeah.
maybe there could be a case made for Edward Norton. I think he made me love that character a lot, but I don't know if I would it would be my number one pick for any of the categories.
Interesting.
Even for best supporting actress.
No, I wouldn't pick her. I mean, like best wife maybe.
Oh. No, I liked her too. I mean, to me, it showed that Joan was a working, she was a working singer. I don't know why. I always am impressed when you see a musician carrying their guitar in their guitar case. It says that, they are working, that they're working musicians. And, seeing Joan, walking around with her guitar case, that, she's just as working. And, she's a jobbing musician, although I'm pretty sure her star was rising, if not already rose at that point in her career. And I'm wondering I wonder if Bob or Joan are going to show up. They're still with us. So I'm
I
wondering
doubt Bob would show up to this.
well, he must have had some. He had
Timothy
some
Chalamet hasn't even met Bob Dylan.
really, but the thing is, he had some. The filmmakers must have listened to it because they said, "Hey, change the name of my girlfriend at my girlfriend at the
Yeah.
time."
Doesn't mean that he met with him.
Yeah.
But they must have had some contact with him that
He
told
sent
him,
something
okay.
through like Western Union, like,
Yeah.
hey.
Pony
Okay.
Express.
So now we move up, we jump up two, and we go to 10 nominations, and we'll talk about Wicked first. Now we did a show. Kim, you tell us about Wicked because Vicky and I and Mark we did a whole show on Wicked, so which you should listen to on Mark Who 42. So what's your take on Wicked?
Okay. When Wicked was first announced, I had never seen Wicked. I didn't know any of the songs. All I knew was the basic premise. I was like, oh yeah, I guess like the bad witch is like young and then the good witch is young and then they know each other somehow. Anywho, that's what I knew. And this is having grown up, like I would watch The Wizard of Oz like every Thanksgiving. Uh I
Damn
just
straight.
Yeah, exactly. Tradition. Maintain those traditions. But I hadn't really delved into it, not from not lack of interest. It's just never happened. So I decided to give it a try after I saw a clip of Popular online. I was like, oh, this is kind of catchy. So I went and I enjoyed myself. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. There were some elements where I'm like, oh, this kind of is a bit weird shooting it like this, or the cinematography kind of sucked, and the pacing in Act 3 was kind of bad. But overall, I had fun. It was cute. It was nice. I don't know if I would ever nominate it for an Oscar if I was an Oscar voter, but I had a good time.
I agree. I mean, I think this is of the best picture films. This is the most fun film. I mean, it's dealing with serious topics of discrimination and I guess
Mm-hmm.
civil rights, but it's still light and it's a musical and it's also fun. I mean, I forget if it. Oh, I didn't read what it's nominated for. I'm sorry. It's up for Best Picture, actress, both actresses, Ariana Grande and Cynthia. Oh God, I always forget
Arriva,
Cynthia and Erivo.
Arrivo.
Are did I pronounce it right, or is it
Yeah, I think it's Arrivo.
Erivo? Are both up for playing Erivo for playing Elvitha, and obviously Ariana Grande playing Galinda or Glinda, as she's later known. And other awards, director. I'm trying.
Why?
Oh, it looked good. I mean, it looked. I mean, he
He's
picked.
not a good director. I'm sorry. That movie
He
succeeded
wasn't up for
despite him.
director.
Oh, yeah, okay, good.
Did
Oh, I'm
not get
sorry. I read
director.
the long. I read the. I'm looking at my cheat sheet and I read the wrong one. If you can cut it out, cut it out. If not, keep my mistake in. I'm sorry. It's picture, actress, score, sound, uh, production design, makeup, costume, editing, and effects. And I think, as I said, most fun film, beautiful to look at. Uh, can't wait for part two. Um, as I said, we did a whole show on it. I don't know anything more to add about it for right now.
Yeah,
Vicky,
I
anything you want to?
agree. I enjoyed the movie very much. I'm a fan of the Broadway musical and the entire story of The Wizard of Oz and all the various movie adaptations, as we talked about several weeks ago. Um, I would not put it in the Best Picture category. I don't think it's a strong enough movie for something like that. Visually stunning, yes. Um, it just with the caliber of talent we had this year outside of things like costumes and production design and things like that, this is not one of those movies. It's a year that I would not put it up there. It is unfortunately in, I would put it below average in best picture category. If we were only talking musicals and comedies, it go up there. But when you're talking about the caliber of work that came out this year, it's because it's the popular vote.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Now, next film, which also has 10 nominations, yep, 10 nominations, is The Brutalist, which is up for picture, director, actor. Adrian Brody as Laszlo Toth, and Guy Pearce as Harrison Lee von Buren Sr., and also Best Actress in a supporting role for Felicity Jones playing Erzbet Toth. Screenplay, score, production, editing, cinematography. So it's up for all of these awards. Kim, I've been wanting to ask you about this.
Mhm.
Are we supposed to be sympathetic with Laszlo overall, or does it change as time goes on? Because early on in the film, I didn't find him sympathetic at the beginning.
I don't think maybe it's one way or another where it's like, hey, you're supposed to be extremely sympathetic for him or you're supposed to hate him. I think it's more of a ambiguous type of character.
Okay.
Not that not that he's like particularly bad. He's not faithful, but
That's what I'm
know,
saying. In the
yeah.
movie, his first thing that he does in Go to New York is he goes to town, and that's how we'll say it. I forget what rating the show has, our podcast has. So
Yeah, so I don't think I think it's more about not so much, hey, let's sympathize with this character, but let's follow their journey type of story.
that's I agree with that. The only other thing is I think I was thinking about this. I think after I read your review, or because I know you had a problem because this movie had an intermission,
Mhm.
and I think you had issues with the second act.
Oh my God,
And
I was so mad.
and one of the things I didn't like about the second act is, you know, maybe he should not have gone back to working with the Van Burens, who's designing this great big
Mhm.
building. I think maybe he was better off being a draftsman at that big company where they find him, because in the middle of the movie, the project falls apart, and then they ask him to bring him back because it's back on track and they want him to finish the building. He's If you guys don't know what the plot is, we follow the life of Laszlo Toth, who survives the Holocaust, comes to America. He was an architect before the Holocaust. He tries to restart his architect career by working on this big building for this rich, traditional, waspish family. And things go awry. And then you have an addendum at the end, which shows that his life went okay after he kind of broke off with this rich family. And I'm sorry if that's a spoiler.
I don't think that's what the epilogue says. I think it says
Really?
the opposite.
I thought that because he did once he separated from the Van Buren project, he did a lot of building. So I thought he was better off
I
once he
think
left the
in
country.
I think on the face value it looks like that, but isn't really like that. Um, but as you mentioned, I had troubles with the first act. I mean, the second act. I During intermission, remember texting my friend and being like, "This is the best of the Best Picture nominees right now. This was before the nominees came out, but it was pretty apparent that it was going to be nominated. I was like, this
Mm.
is absolutely fantastic. This is the best movie of the year." And then now it's like all tainted because the second act felt like it was written by someone else entirely. It
Interesting.
felt disjointed, and like they didn't know where to take this movie. The tone was entirely different. It it was very frustrating, but I will say beautifully shot, and no one can cry on camera like Adrian Brody. That man is a crying machine.
Nope. I have to agree with you on that. I mean, it was a very beautifully well made film. I was impressed. I mean, uh, as I think I mentioned on this show, on this podcast before, unfortunately, when I really want to waste time and, procrastinate, I'll probably put on the Mystery Science Theater Forever-a-thon, and you'll see bad production values. And I think that gives me a contrast of when you see a good movie. So I think,
Hmm.
saying that, um, yeah, it's just a very intense movie, and obviously we have different interpretations of about the ending, and I think it's a complicated movie. I don't know if it would definitely not be on my top half, because but it wouldn't be on my bottom. I think it would be somewhere in the lower middle.
I
For,
just it would have been number one if it wasn't for that. It's like I'm so mad. That was very mad.
well, I don't think you could have ended it in the first half. I think that would have been
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, like I think it needed to not go in the direction it did style wise, tone wise. It seemed like they had no idea. They had a good premise and then didn't know where to take it.
Mm. Yeah, and this is an original. Um, I think it's up. I think for screenplay, it's up for an original screenplay. I mean, this is complete. And also, I think there was something unusual about the filming of this. I think they. Do you remember that there was some type of? Maybe I'm
Oh, the
misremembering.
AI, the
No,
generative AI. Oh, never mind.
I don't remember that. I
There was
just.
some concern with AI because I guess when Adrian Brody speaks Hungarian, there are certain sounds that in the English language you don't make them at all. And and anyone who's tried to learn another language has probably run into that where you have to learn essentially how to make a new sound. So they were wanted it to be a bit more authentic, so they kind of used some AI to
Yes.
change it so that his he was able to hit those sounds.
Well, I think
Yes.
I
They,
real.
they they fed the voices through a essentially, for lack of a better word, a dialect auto tune
Yes.
to improve it.
And they did use AI as well, I believe, for like drawings, maybe you see in the
Mm-hmm.
picture. But I mean that the ethics of that, it depends on who you ask, I suppose.
No, I think I'm taking a look at the wiki entry. I think it's because it came under $10 million production.
Yeah. They
Production.
used
So
it to create some of the buildings, and there were complaints that the quality was not as good as it should have been.
well, actually, I don't know the quality as we've both said, the film quality was pretty good. Uh,
No, the some of the actual architecture that was supposedly done
Mhm.
was AI generated architecture, as opposed to actually having an artist create those buildings.
that's the Brutalist, and now we're gonna go to the most nomination, Amelia Perez. I don't know if it'll be easier to discuss what it didn't get because it got Best Picture, Director, actresses for Zoe
Every
Saldana for
big
supporting
category.
actress. Well, it didn't have actors. Carla Sofia Gascon, who I believe is, no, I know is the first trans woman to be nominated for an Academy Award. I be I believe that's true. And other categories, screenplay. It's an international film. It's score, song, sound, cinematography, makeup, editing, and I believe that's it. So, uh, Kim, I know you've got opinions of it. I think I've agreed with most of your opinions, but let's hear them.
Okay, first off, how dare you cast a musical with people who like can't sing? Like, I am so tired of musical movies where like they do that like whisper singing, and I'm not familiar with like musical terms enough to be able properly. Well, I'm sure there's a word for it, but it sucks. I don't like
it's
it.
the Rex Harrison style of singing, where you're really speaking it, and you're
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yes,
And
and you
it
can still win awards.
yeah, apparently, and eh, the acting's like whatever, I guess. And then what? It's like not like it's very blatantly racist, I think, when you just start a movie with a random shot of a dude playing mariachi, and then like you never like hear from this dude again, never see him again, where it's like it's basically being like, hey, like we want to tell you this movie's set in Mexico, but we won't like explicitly say Mexico right now. So what's the most Mexican thing we can think of, but we're racist? So like it was like, come on guys, like really, 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 really. So that was really frustrating. Um it it was there is a discussion to be had about whether the movie itself is transphobic or whether the characters are transphobic. It is just not a great movie. Why is it so loved? I don't understand. If this wins, I'm staging a protest.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think the ending of the film, and I won't go into detail. Or maybe I will. I think I could have forgiven it for some of its sins had they did. You don't you kill the main character at the end, and then you wonder, what's the point? I mean, and this is based on a book, so I don't know if and the flaws that you've discussed are inside the book or it's the people who made the film. I mean, as I said, I none of us have read the book, so we can't go into it, but it's just like you're going, really? This
Yeah.
is what you want to do? It's yeah. I mean, was it I think it was a stage play. I'm looking at an adapted
Oh,
screenplay.
was it really?
No, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's based on the opera libretto Emilia Perez and the novel. There was a novel, they made an opera or an opera libretto. Um, Vicky, you might be able to clarify on the distinction on that. And so it was based on something else, whether
It's based on a chapter of a book that, and I do not know how faithful it is to that book. And, I will say that I had already told Juan that I have not been able to make it through the movie yet. I started it, and I've heard the controversies, and I tried to give it an open mind. And, I just, I have to agree. The French making a movie about Mexico, have they gone down there? Have they visited? Have they met the people?
Have they
I
cast
highly recommend
Mexican actors?
It is a disappointment to me because I think this could have been done so much better. I don't even know if the music is good at the moment because I kind of can't get past some of the tropes, some of the stereotypes. And for me, I feel like there's always going to be an asterisk in the fact that we've got our first trans woman nominated in an acting credit. And there's going to be an asterisk, but it was for Amelia Perez.
It's very unfortunate.
I feel like it hurts anytime we're trying to get past the, white upper class male establishment when we have items that are just not as good as they could have been. We can't even say that it's not good for its time because it's 2025.
Well, 2024 when it was made and released.
We're 2024. But, so if this was 2014, I could forgive some of it because of the fact that we were just starting to hear voices more authentically. If it was 2004, if it was 1994, I would go, you know what? We were not as respectful and open as we are now. And so for me, I'm sitting there with my eyes closed going, oh God, this is going to set us back 20 years.
It's a lot. I mean, that surgery song is very wild beginning to end.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I never forget about that. Never, ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever. I don't think I ever will.
And also
It'll be interesting. And it has definitely received a lot of mixed reception when it's come to the awards because it's been nominated for a lot. It's won a lot, but it's also not.
And I think people because previously in other award shows, Zoe Saldana has been listed as supporting actress, and I strongly believe that's category fraud. Like she is the lead actress in that movie. The movie may be called Amelia Perez, but it's from Zoe's character's
perspective.
Viewpoint. Yeah.
And it's a pity. I do like Zoe Saldana. I wish
very much so.
Yeah, so it's yeah, and the thing is I don't think I heard about this movie until I don't know when if other awards gave it nominations. I don't know if it was in the Golden Globe, so I don't know where.
Yeah, I think Zoe won supporting actress there, I believe. I may be wrong.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I mean, it caught me by surprise, and it's another, it's a Netflix film, so it's easily accessible to people. I saw it, and as I said, I think it was unusual, and I forget if I had read your review of it, if I read Kim's review of it on Letterboxd before, and
it's a movie.
I just felt, as I said, yeah, I might have given. I mean, I think I gave it, a medium review on Letterboxd. So I think, yeah, that's my feeling towards it. So I think, so that's the list of nominations. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Oscars? I guess the last thing we could talk about, is there anything we would have liked to have seen that didn't make it?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything where I'm like, all right, that should have, like, you all know my thoughts on Sing, but it's nominated.
Yeah.
It just needed to be nominated more. Is there something that you guys think is, like, what do you guys think is going to win Best Picture and the two main actor nominations?
You go first, Vicky. I'll think about it.
Well, okay, so that's hard because of the way Best Picture is now. And I'm glad that we've added, because for the longest time, if you were a popular movie, you had a hard time getting respect in award season.
Mm-hmm.
It's why movies such as Star Wars, and I mean, George Lucas has never gotten the number of mainstream awards that he should have gotten in the early days. Even Steven Spielberg struggled to get that type of recognition for a while, because if it's popular, it can't be good art. That was the theories in the 70s and the 80s as the blockbuster came out. And so I think that there's a possibility that something like Wicked could get it, because, in no offense, Avatars are winning Best Picture Oscars. So, and I hated both movies.
Yeah, they suck.
Yes. Now, Amelia Perez, I think, has a possibility of winning because of the push. When I was in LA, the number of commercials for your consideration was insane for so many things, especially Amelia Perez. I'm hoping it's something different, something like The Substance or Anora or even Conclave, because I want to see something a little different. I mean, Conclave may be a little bit more of a traditional Hollywood type movie, but I want to see something a little different win, because we need to get more information out there. We need to get more styles out there. We need to have something different. For Best Actor, Adrian Brody, I think, has got a good shot for it, but I'm hoping for Ralph Fiennes, because I loved him in that role.
He was great.
Yes, and then Best Actress, I don't know, maybe I'm showing my age, but I want to see Demi Moore win. She did an amazing job, and I think that she deserves it. For the others, I haven't seen all of these, so I'm on a struggle. I agree with you. Anything Isabella Rossellini does, the woman can do no wrong.
I think for Best Picture, I'd like to see Dune win it, but more likely, I think Wicked is possibly more of a likely win.
Mm-hmm.
And as for actor, I think I'd like to see Cynthia Erivo win for Elsa. And although I wouldn't be unhappy to see Demi Moore win, I think Elsa Sparkle was a great role, and we talked about it on our show altogether.
Yeah.
Although I'm torn, because I did like Nikki Madison and Honora. So actress, I'm torn about.
I think
Actor,
got really good names.
I guess I'd like Ralph Fiennes for the reasons that I mentioned in my review.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's about it. Kim?
So what I would like to win Best Picture is Honora. I don't think Amelia, if you had asked me a month ago, I would have said Amelia Perez is probably going to win. But since the controversy started boiling up with the main actresses' past tweets, I've seen a big slowdown in what's been getting award-wise. So I think I wouldn't be surprised, despite what we've all said here, that Wicked would actually win this. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Not my first choice, not my second, not my third.
Answer, isn't it?
Yeah, because Honora hasn't been doing great award-wise, nor has a Brutalist, nor has a Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, and then simply from process of elimination, I'm thinking Wicked might win this. When it comes to the Best Actor category, looking at it, it's very tricky. There are many different ways. I don't think Sebastian Stan is going to win it. I think Timothée Chalamet is going to have to deal with another loss. Like, I think this is his third one now. Sorry, I don't think he's going to get it. So, I don't think it's going to be Adrian Brody either. I do have to wonder if now they're going to be like, this is the one award that Sing Sing does get, this or screenplay. So I'll go maybe either Ralph or Coleman, maybe. But I would want it to go Coleman Domingo. And for actress, we all know how the Oscars tends to do kind of we're sorry we didn't give you this award when you deserved it, so we're gonna give it to you now. And
Always.
I'm not, so pretty confident it's going to go Demi Moore. I would like it to go to Maggie Madison, but I wouldn't be mad at all if it goes to Demi Moore either way because it's Demi Moore. She was pretty great in it. Whatever I thought about the third act, Demi Moore was a solid element of that movie.
The Oscar ceremony will be Sunday, March 2nd. So check them out and see how our predictions turned out.
Yeah.
And since we are Mark Who 42, we're also going to end with the fact that there is a major Doctor Who announcement. Doctor Who will be back on the air April 12th. That's a big news release. Big news release everywhere. Kim, is there anything you want to promote since you're our guest?
I mean, I would just say that if you guys want to follow me on Letterboxd, it's Fastest Pussycat, based off of the classic movie.
I love that.
Thank you. I love that you love it because that means you know what I'm referring to. I'm like 4 movies behind on that, what I have to review, but I will get to them soon.
Okay, so until next time, this is Mark Who 42. This is Juan in Orlando.
Vicky in Reno.
And Kim in Kissimmee.
And that's all, and see you next time.
You've been listening to Mark Who 42's Universe. Hosting this show are Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Juan Sanmiguel. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com. Mark Who 42's Universe is produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Copyright 2025.